bring you an update in this ABC News alleged whistleblower story that we brought to you yesterday. There have been some developments. ABC News did respond late yesterday, and the response is somewhat stunning. Just to refresh those of you who didn't listen yesterday, and you really should just listen every day because your life will be better and you'll be more informed. This person purporting to be a whistleblower from ABC News came forward with an affidavit that was released, as far as I can see, exclusively to someone on X who goes by the name Black Insurrectionist. He hasn't been on X that long. He has some 100,000 followers. He's gained 30,000 followers over the past week as he's been teasing this. So many of us thought this could be what we call engagement farming, trying to just jack up your followers. But he did indeed produce the affidavit he had been promising on Sunday. This alleged whistleblower says in what he purports to have here as a sworn affidavit signed under penalties of perjury and allegedly notarized by a notary public that ABC News coordinated with the Kamala Harris campaign in advance of the presidential debate to rig the debate in her favor. He has minor allegations like they gave her a smaller podium. That we know did happen, but he claims this affidavit was signed on September 9th, the day before the debate. So, and that it was notarized and so on, and that he's going to be able to prove, and that he sent a certified copy of this whole thing to Speaker Mike Johnson via certified mail. We asked his office if they have it. No response yet. In any event, so he wouldn't have known that if it really was something that was legitimately sent on September 9th from watching the debate. All right, so it says the thing about the podium. He says she negotiated to look a certain way on the split screens. He says that ABC News agreed to fact check Trump only and not her. He says that they provided sample questions, not the exact questions, he alleges, but sample questions covering similar topics that would appear during the debate. He says that they had agreed certain topics would be off limits, including the perceived health of Joe Biden, her tenure as Attorney General, and her brother-in-law, Tony West, who used to work at DOJ and is accused of settling cases at very large numbers when the plaintiffs were Democrat operatives or anyone he thought he wanted to or could curry favor with. That's a short form description of all that. He talks about the observed bias against Trump within ABC. And then he says in this affidavit, I have secretly recorded several conversations that will prove the Harris campaign insisted upon not only the fact checking of Donald Trump, but also insisted on what questions were not to be asked under any circumstances, or else the Harris campaign would decline to participate in the debate. All right. This is all there. Do not know. We went through some of the questions about the affidavit. It's not the most beautiful document I've ever seen. A lot of not grammatical errors. Actually, there aren't any. There's no spelling errors, but there are grammatical errors in it. And then there's a notary public seal or sign without the seal, but Black Insurrectionist says he's redacted the seal, and a notary public seal does reveal the identity of the notary. So that it would make sense if you're trying to maintain anonymity all around that you might do that. Okay, so we don't know. We don't know whether this is real or not real, but we are open-minded to it, and we are trying to report on the story. Well, not surprisingly, those who are covering it in the media are dumping on it, laughing at it. We'll find out whether it deserved to be laughed at. But ABC News finally responded. They finally responded. Kamala Harris has not responded. And this is what they said. They gave a statement to the Daily Beast. Quote, ABC News followed the debate rules that both campaigns agreed on and which clearly state no topics or questions will be shared in advance with campaigns or candidates. That's it. We followed the rules, which state no topics or debate questions will be shared in advance. What? Did you have private negotiations with Kamala Harris and her campaign? Did you agree that she would have a special look on stage from the podium to the split screen situation? Did you agree that you wouldn't ask about Tony West, about her tenure as AG, about President Biden's mental fitness and her role in covering it up? Did you agree to any of that? Do you deny that there could possibly be tapes of an executive or someone at ABC News reiterating that promise or making it in the first instance? This is so generic and empty as to cause more concerns than we had yesterday. It is not a denial that sounds like a truth-telling denial. I've anchored many presidential debates, as you know. If you ever accused me of any of this, what I would say is I can categorically deny that we did any of this. Now, I'd have to look at the executives at Fox News for behind-the-scenes negotiations with the campaigns, because we as anchors didn't do that. But they'd have to tell me as the anchor if I wasn't allowed to ask certain questions. I'd have to share with them my specific questions so that they could be forwarded on, right? The sample questions. So I'd know at least that had happened. I could honestly say back in that 2016 debate or 15 debate that's so famous now between Trump and the others and yours truly and Brett and Chris, I kept my questions like this. Roger Ailes never saw them. He was very angry with me after that debate because he never saw the questions and he was pissed off. In any event, this is a non-denial denial. So I have more questions today than I did yesterday, and it cannot be left at this. Bill Ackman, now billionaire investor and successful businessman, has not only brought this to Bob Iger saying you need to respond, but he's saying I'm going to have to bring this to the SEC. There may be a question of corporate governance here. What ethical rules, if any, were crossed? Maybe none. Maybe the whole thing is bullshit and we are falling for some hoax by the Russians, by whoever called in the bomb threats. No clue. But I will tell you, having gone back through the affidavit again, there are some things that are weird. Why does he say I live in Manhattan, New York? That's not really how we refer to ourselves when we live in Manhattan, which I did for 17 years. But it could just be a way of saying I'm in the borough of Manhattan where ABC is. Twice he says ABC News, lowercase news. Once he says AB News, capitalized. People are batting on him for that. Okay. But then he goes on to say, the Harris campaign received these particular accommodations, a podium that would be smaller, assurances regarding split screen television views that would favorably impact Kamala Harris's appearance relative to Donald Trump. To me, that does not sound like some Russian troll. That actually, to me, does sound like something a campaign might ask for. I don't know what the specific there could be a version of that that's okay. How are you going to have her on camera when he's talking? That might be something a campaign would ask. So this could be benign or it could be not benign. But that doesn't sound like trolling to me from some hoaxer. And then he goes on to talk about how they spoke with the Harris campaign without Trump present or Trump campaign present. And he writes, to my understanding, any rules, negotiations, and conversations pertaining to the debate should have had both the Trump and Harris campaigns involved. The Harris campaign had numerous more calls, once again, grammatical stuff, regarding the debate rules without the Trump campaign aware or on the call. That, again, is something that sounds to me like it is potentially from a TV insider who understands the normal protocols and ethical boundaries when dealing with two sides in a presidential debate. We don't know. The person says they've been working in tech and administrative roles for ABC for over 10 years. This affidavit, as I said yesterday, if any portion of it is true, is very damning. And this denial from ABC followed the debate rules. No topics or questions would be shared in advance. Those were the rules. Does not get it done. So this scandal has officially grown today. And ABC, Kamala Harris, and yes, Speaker Johnson must speak out.
That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe, be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.